everyday witches emerge from the shadows of secrecy. Broom closets are flinging open and witches are taking flight. Whether you are hiding in your cozy closet or flying with pride, stay for a spell as Witchcasting with Theodora Pendragon and her guests share magical moments, stir the cauldron, and debunk misinformation and misconceptions about paganism, witches, and our wonderful world of magic.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm your host, Theodora Pendragon, and today my special guest is Kelly Boyer. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Today, we're going to talk about you being an energy healer, but first I'd like to ask you, why did you reach out to me to be on the podcast? What attracted you to Witchcasting with Theodora Pendragon?
In all honesty, it was the name of your show. I literally saw it and I was like, oh, I can totally fit into this. I found my place.
Oh, that makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You said that you're an energy healer.
Mm-hmm. So interestingly enough, I, like everyone else, I went to school. I have a very extensive background in psychology. I love the idea of the mind, how consciousness works. And so I studied therapy to be a therapist. But then I was like, there is a piece of this that is missing, because oftentimes, which you'll find when you and other therapists may agree, you get stuck in this box. And I didn't want to be stuck in a box. I'm like, there is way more to this than being stuck into that proverbial box. So all through my childhood, I've been very intuitive. I grew up very psychic, very a lot of mediumship. Like, I was just very intuitive, and I knew that intuitive healing was the piece that was missing. So using my experience and my background of my education, I decided to mix the two and started using the manipulation of energy to really make breakthroughs in helping people heal. So I was like, energy healing is the path for me. And that's how I became became an energy healer, because I just wanted to help other people heal, but heal in a way where they had tools and they could learn how to manipulate their own energy for their own healing. Because healing comes from within.
You actually are on the right podcast, because sometimes people reach out to me and they want to sell me detergent or something.
Oh, no. I have nothing to sell, just energy to share.
Tell us how that journey into healing began.
So I actually grew up with a lot of trauma and abuse in my early years. It was a lot of both physical, mental, and emotional abuse. When I got to around the age 10, the physical abuse had stopped, but the emotional and mental abuse continued on. And of course, that was all that I knew. So those were the relationships, friendships, romantic relationships that I attracted because I didn't know any better. And it just perpetually continued to get worse. It got worse in my family. I hate to say, I grew up with a narcissistic mother. And I was the black sheep. So she came after me a lot, mentally and emotionally. And then, of course, that was what drove me into the field of psychology, because I just wanted to understand myself. And as I continued with psychology and the other fields that I worked in, I realized that there was a lot of other people that were experiencing the same things I was. And what I was experiencing wasn't right. So it was almost like one day I woke up I really dug deep down inside and found my own empowerment and started healing myself. And it was in that own healing of using energy work and psychology that I really started seeing changes in myself. I felt very empowered. I felt I felt very strong. I didn't feel like I was alone. And I realized that I just really wanted to share this with other people that are going through trauma and abuse or even mental health challenges, because they often feel so alone, so lost, and they just don't really know which direction to go into. So I like to use my energy healing and first and foremost to let people know that they're not alone. Let them know that they have everything inside of them to heal and pull through that and really step into the authentic person that they've always were meant to be and that what they deserve to be. That's what drew me to it. I was like, I'm going to help. I want to be a helper. And I have to share this with others. So I love what I do so much.
How do you use your energy healing to help others and manifest the life they deserve?
It's really interesting when you really start to tap into doing energy work. One of the things that I always try to teach people is to really start connecting with energy work. Always starts with the mind body connection, and it's through that connection that you can actually feel yourself expanding out, bringing in, expanding out, bringing in your energy. And when we start to learn how to expand out our energy, the scientific side of it is that anytime that we expand anything energetic wise, all the atoms and particles that are in between that cause that heaviness where they're rubbing into each other, they begin to expand. It's in between part where you can really start working with that energy to manifest what you want. So that's what I started doing. I just really started learning how to expand out my energy, create space. And it's within that space that I started working. So I started doing a lot of inner child healing because I really needed to go back in time and to let that child know that my child, my little Kelly, that's what I call her, to let little Kelly know that she's supported and safe and that she can do that. And I really started changing the frequencies of those timelines through that healing. So then that kind of continued on to where I was like, if I can change that, I know I can bring timelines to me without getting too technical with other parallel lives and stuff. So I started reaching into those timelines and just asking to be shown what it is. And once you really learn how to do that, you can really create any kind of life you want. I always tell my clients, I'm like, if you can feel it, sense it, or see it, that timeline is yours and you can bring it towards you and manifest whatever it is. That's how I created my business, was going in there and manifesting it and seeing it and pulling that timeline and creating that timeline. I just call it my quantum ATM. You know, you reach out there and you get it and it comes to you.
Can you give an example of how you manifest that? Because the word manifest can mean so many things to so many different people.
It's true. Because a lot of people think, well, if I just say I want this, and I believe that I want it, then it's going to happen. And that is partially true, right? You have to have that positive intent to put behind it. But the other thing that oftentimes people forget is that it really does create. You really have to create your own action towards it. So I do work a lot with different type of wave frequencies that are in the quantum field. As you're manifesting, you have to be able to connect with those high vibrational frequencies so that you can bring it to you. So that's part of the action, right? Is going, okay, so here's a good example. My son recently graduated. I was like, how am I going to pay for all of these people for his graduation luncheon? I was really stressing about it. And my guides were like, why are you stressing? Just create it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I really went inside within myself and started really connecting with my energy. I also did the mind body centering. And as I was pushing out and expanding my energy, I went into that field and I asked to see the timeline at least one of the timelines where I could manifest that money. And it was interesting because I started to see it and saw myself sitting with everybody at the table. I saw myself handing over my debit card to pay for it, not having any worries. Everybody was happy. And I was like, well, how is this money going to come? Am I going to do work and get extra clients or what? And I actually saw an envelope arrive in the mail. And I was like, okay, because I really wanted it. I hate to say I wanted an easy path to get there. So then after that, the other key to it is once you create it and you see it and you can feel it and you can believe it. And by feeling it, I mean with every cell of your body, every fiber of your being, and you know that it's yours and it's coming. You have to let it go, because the more that we obsess about it, what we don't realize is we change those frequencies that we put out into the universe, and that can cause chaos in the universe, which may take longer for the universe to fulfill it. Or the universe will say, well, she just wants a lot of confusion, so I'm just going to give her more confusion. So you've got to learn how to let that go. So that's what I did. And a week later, in the mail arrives, and there's this card in this envelope that came from one of our family members that said, here, I want to pay for the luncheon. And I'm going to tell you, after the luncheon, I went to pay for it, and the bill came up to I had 93 cents left over after everything that I paid for.
When you said timeline, does that mean that you actually visualize when that will happen? Is that what you mean by the timeline?
You can visualize how. Sometimes when is kind of tricky when we're talking about looking into anything in the future, because there's a lot of things that can happen that can alter or change those trajectories to get to that. But no, we live in a quantum universe. So we have an infinite amount of infinite amount of possibilities that we can pull towards us. So if it is something that we are feeling like, hey, I really do feel like I can have this, when you go out into that quantum field and you ask your soul, okay, help me bring that timeline to me. If you can see that timeline from start to finish, then there is a life out there in which all of that exists. And so you can pull that energy and those frequencies to you at any time. And that's really how I manifest. If it's something that I'm like, I think this is mine, and I ask for that timeline and I can't see it, then it's probably an idea that's just passing or something that is not meant for me. So then I let it go. But anything that is meant for you, you should be able to see, sense, or feel it when you are working in that quantum field. And if you can, then it is definitely something that is meant for you, because it's already happened, because we're living in the past, present, and future right now. So if there's something in the future that you want, you can bring it into your present.
That's kind of like The Secret. Have you seen The Secret or read The Secret?
Yeah, I read it. I was like, oh, this feels so familiar.
Would you say it's similar, the same, or kind of, sort of?
Let me see. I have to kind of go back into my memory bank because I read it quite some time ago. You know what? I would say there would be a lot of similarities, right? Because if you can't feel that with every single fiber of your being, then how are you going to really create it or manifest it to bring it to you?
You have to feel that you already own it or deserve it.
Yes.
It's yours now, whatever that is, whether it's a career or an opportunity or a thing.
Yes. You have to really embody those frequencies, and they have to feel good. There's things that people want that sometimes when I ask them, they're like, well, it felt like it was a little off. And I'm like, well, if you're feeling it's a little off, there's some frequency in there that it doesn't resonate with your body. So it's not incoherent and creating harmony within your body, then it's probably something that's not yours or meant for you. It's not for your highest and best good, is usually what I tell people.
So what you're saying is just because you want it doesn't mean it was meant for you to have.
Correct. Because there's a lot of things that I want that when I feel into it, and if there's anything that my body tells me this is not in harmonic resonance, I know that it's not for my highest and best good. So there's some things that I really try to cling on to because I'm human and I'm like, I really want this. But even if I get it, I realize that there's something about it that's not good for me. There's something that's off about it. So either it's not going to flow as easily, or when I try to use it, there's going to be a lot of, I don't want to say problems, but issues. But if it is in harmonic resonance with my body, if I'm incoherent with it and it all feels good, what you notice, it will all flow the way it's supposed to flow. You won't have any issues. You'll start saying things like, oh my gosh, it came to me so easily. I can't believe how seamless this process was. That means it is meant for you. Like that is what is designed for you, and you can have it.
I like how you describe it as in your highest and best good. That really sums it up.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but anything that comes to me, I want it to be for my highest and best good. I want it to benefit me in all of the best ways possible and not be something that's hard or challenging or difficult.
I have found that when I go after something I want and there's resistance, I need to listen to that because I need to take the road of less resistance, because that thing I want and the wall is there. Or even if I don't want it, maybe something is trying to come my way and I feel that wall. That's the universe or my spirit guides, whatever you want to call it. They're telling me, no, don't do that. You don't want that thing, whatever that is. It could be a job opportunity.
Yep. That's 100% true. If you're running into any sort of resistance, I mean, I'm not saying that you can power through it, but then for me, whenever I get stubborn and I'm like, I'm going to power through this and make it through, I always kind of look back, hindsight's 2020, right? And then I look at it and I go, so all of this effort, all of this energy, extra energy that I put towards power throughing all of this I didn't really receive anything in return. Everything is an energetic exchange. What you give, you should also get back. And so if you put forward resistance, if you have to run into resistance and you got to go through that resistance, the energy that you're putting out is going to come back in resistance, right? So it's going to be harder. There's going to be things that just aren't quite lining up. So if you put out your energy, and again, your energy, and it feels seamless, it feels easy, you're like, I can't believe this is all coming to me or happening to me. Guess what? It's going to come back. You're going to get that same type of free flowing, beautiful energy is going to come back to you. So for example, with a job, if you're going to be happy about your job, you're going to feel really fulfilled, you're going to feel like you have purpose. You're not going to sit there and question, did I make the right decision? You're just going to know because those frequencies that you put out are the same ones that are coming back to you. And again, everything is about being in harmonic resonance with your own body.
It's going to land in your lap.
Exactly.
There are things that have happened in my life where it was wonderful. And I think, wow, that just landed in my lap. How can I turn it away? And it turned out to be something wonderful.
Yes. I always like the comments where people are like, this is too good to be true. Maybe I should be really skeptical of it because, life is supposed to be hard. And I'm like, don't be like that. If it is too good to be true and it is yours, that means that everything is in alignment. Take it, have gratitude, just appreciate it falling in your lap. The moment that we attach, oh, well, now I might need to question this, or I have some fear, like, what if the other shoe drops? That's the other one. I have so many euphemisms for you right now. But like, what if the other shoe drops? And I'm like, well, then you're changing those frequencies that have come to you. And now that's what you're going to create.
Right. You're changing their frequencies and you're putting all that negative energy into this wonderful thing that just came your way. You have to be careful of that too, because you can be toxic to your own destiny if you keep thinking like that.
Yes, yes. Oh, I have a lot of conversations like that with my different clients, because all of them are like, I really want this and I'm really trying to manifest it. And then what you hear after that is, but, and then they have some sort of negative frequencies that they then have attached to it. And I'm like, drop the but. Like, let's get rid of the buts and just say, this is something that I really want and I can really feel that it is mine. So the thing that when I start working with people and they really want to manifest, I ask them, okay, so I want you to put out there what it is that you want to manifest. And you could feel all of their passion. And I said, when you start feeling that but coming in, I'm like, I want you to change it to, because I deserve this. And I said, and then see what happens. And even in those words have so much energy behind them, so powerful, that when we change even the words that we have, the energy behind those frequencies that you're putting out become even stronger. So I always try, even when I'm manifesting, I'm like, I really want this because I deserve it. And I like to say it with a lot of enthusiasm because I really want to put those positive frequencies behind it so that I can have it, right?
I agree. It's just like saying, I will try to lose weight. No, you don't say try because you've already created doubt. You say, I will lose X number of pounds by this date. You don't try anything. You do it and you will.
Exactly. So the other thing that I really enjoy doing that I always recommend is every month I do write down goals, and it's exactly what you said. My goals aren't or even if I say I want, because want can still have doubt in it, because you're kind of saying, well, this is what I want. I want to have X many number of clients this month, right? So if you change it to I will have, you're already telling the universe, I know that I've got this. This is mine. I'm just letting you know I will have this. Universe or your spirit's guides, very neutral. They don't know yes, no, good, bad. It just knows what it is that you're asking for. So even in the word I want, even when you say that, you're questioning it. So what does the universe hear? Oh, well, there's a question in that. So maybe it's not something that I really need to give them. But when you say universe, I will have this, the universe says, yes, you will. And it's like it hands it over to you. But the other caveat to that is expectations. Because a lot of times we'll say, well, I will have this. And then in our heads, we have the expectation of how we're going to get it. It's really important to also drop that expectation because, again, expectations is putting limitations on it.
It is, because it can come to you in a way that you never thought of.
Exactly. And even better than what your expectations or what you thought of. Anytime that I drop those expectations, anything, I'm going to tell you, anything and everything that has come to me even better than what I could have ever imagined. And it's everything that I need. Because when we put expectations on it too, sometimes when we do that, we're leaving out things that we didn't even know that we needed. And that can also create resistance. So again, it goes back to the highest and best good. So I will have X, Y, and Z. I want whatever comes to me for my highest good. And so I'm going to drop that expectation. And lastly, when it does come to you in the best way imaginable, you have to put gratitude towards it.
I was just going to say that. Gratitude. Yes, we have to be grateful.
Yes.
And we really have to think about what we're grateful for every single day so we can stay positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have an example. Yesterday we had a hailstorm and I heard it come down. I lost power, so I lost the Zoom meeting that I was on. And I thought, oh, my poor car, it's being hit. So after the storm was gone, I looked and it's, it has hail damage. It's like, my poor car, it looks old. So I had to stop and say, you know what? This is fixable. I didn't get into the accident. I just heard about down the street where the car was split in two. I am so grateful I got hail damage. So it's something like that. Yeah, I'm grateful for something that's fixable.
Exactly, right? And then because you have that gratitude of, I'm so grateful that it was a hailstorm. I'm so grateful that it's fixable. And then you put that out there, right? I'm going to tell you. And then you go into that quantum field and pull that timeline of how the car is going to get fixed, and then even what it looks like after it gets fixed. Oh my gosh, my car looks as if I literally bought it brand new. Like it's a 2023 brand new car, right? It does. It gets done. People come out of the woodwork and they're like, hey, I could do this for you for, you know, really cheap. And then they do excellent work. And then you have somebody else who says, oh, I know somebody who could paint that for you. Oh, it'll look so good. And it's just interesting. Again, just dropping those expectations and just allowing it to come to you. And then, when you get that like what feels like that nice new shiny car, you're like, oh, I'm so grateful for this car. It's amazing. It's exactly how I wished I could have it. So yeah.
Yesterday when this happened, of course, it didn't just happen to my car. It happened to every car that was in the parking lot. And one of the guys who works in my building, it just ruined the rest of his day. I mean, he was just a mess. And I just thought, well, it's out of my control and it's fixable. I'm grateful that I got hail damage and not get into the accident that was down the street.
Right. That just kind of reminds me too, like we're here on, we call it Earth School or this planet, whatever resonates with people, but we're really here to have experiences. All experiences are neutral. We have 100% control of how we want to have that experience. So if we choose to tap into the frequencies of, for example, I'll use the hailstorm of your car. Oh my gosh, my car is damaged. What am I going to do? Why did this happen to me? So when we tap into those frequencies of victimhood, the experience that we created continues to be miserable because those are the frequencies and the vibrations that we brought to it. Whereas on the other hand, you chose to have an experience of gratitude, of you saying, this is totally fixable. I've got this. This isn't a problem. I'm in one piece. I'm not the person that was in that, in that accident. Like this is like, I have totally got this. So you're bringing in frequencies of gratitude and even empowerment by saying, this is fixable. What happens is now you've changed that experience to something that's more positive and something that is workable, and it truly is fixable because you're not coming at it like the one guy that you were talking about. My day is ruined. Oh my gosh, that means the rest of my day is going to be awful. But if we can see that an experience is truly something that is neutral and we can control how we want it to be, if you just look at everything as being an experience and not attach, stories to it and just allow it to just be what it is, again, we're manifesting the type of life we want, and things can be so much easier too.
Manifesting is magic.
It really is. Oh, and I love it. I love playing with magic. So anything that I can create that's magical, it's like being a child again, pretending like I'm creating all of this magic and manipulating everything. But the truth is that we really are creating that. So that makes us magical people too. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, when you believe in magic, you kind of have that freeing feeling like when you were a child,
Mm-hmm.
when you play pretend, but it's not really pretend, it's manifesting.
Yeah. You're right. It's not pretend. And it's so much fun. so much more fun than choosing to be the opposite. And that really is just a choice of wanting to stay in victimhood. And we're not victims to anything.
The power of the mind.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why, to me, having that mind-body connection is so important, because oh my gosh, we can create anything. So,
Who's your typical client?
So, my typical client that I usually have, I'm going to kind of go back to my background, but even just in my own experience, having a lot of trauma and abuse, right? And then having a background in just mental health, I found that a lot of the clients that I get, they come to me, and as we dig in, there's been a lot of trauma, and trauma can come in all different kinds of ways. Our bodies don't tell us, oh, this is a little trauma versus this is a big trauma. It just sees it as being traumatic, and then it stores in our bodies. But a lot of times the people that I have had like a lot of childhood trauma and abuse that have also created patterns into their own relationship abuse. And then, it creates a lot of mental health challenges when we've lived an entire life playing out those patterns of anxiety, depression, mania, you name it. So I really do. It's not that I put it out there and said, these are the people that I really want to help, because I kind of put it out there like I'm willing to help anyone. But the people that often come to me are those that have had some sort of severe trauma or abuse in their life. And
You attract the people who are supposed to see you.
that's right. You're absolutely right. And I do have a huge heart for wanting to help people like that, because a lot of people who go through that, the first thing they always say to me is, I just didn't know where to go. I just feel so alone. And I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're alone, especially alone in a battle that's so hard. There's a lot of support, and just telling somebody, I believe you can make it through this, are some very powerful and empowering words, because a lot of times when they come to me, no one has ever said that. They just kind of treat them like there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them. We just got to clear it out of our body and our energy field and recreate or manifest what it is that we deserve. Not necessarily what we're wanting, but what we deserve. What's our birthright, right? To have the best life we can.
And we get it when we're supposed to get it, not when we want to get it.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Because there are some people that come and they really just aren't ready, because there's that piece, there's some piece in that they're still benefiting from. And that's okay, because that's part of their journey, and it's part of what they're supposed to learn in their journey. And I don't ever want to take anybody's learning away from them, because it's in those learning experiences that when they finally come to the point of where they need to be, they go, oh, wait a minute, I can change this. And when I make those changes, again, it's for my highest and best good. This is my best path.
Those are magic words, my highest and best good. That's what I'm manifesting, and that's what I deserve, my highest and best good. Well, thank you for talking to us about manifesting, Kelly Boyer. Thank you for being on the show. Is there anything else you want to add?
If I was to give anybody any advice, I would just want them to know that all of this can come from within. Anything that, in all honesty, any energy healer is working with you, they're just showing you, they're showing you a mirror of all of that power and empowerment that you have within you. And again, if we're talking about manifesting, all of that comes from within. You don't have to go outside yourself to go get it. Again, feel it in every cell of your body and every fiber of your being, and it's yours. It truly is yours.
Thank you for joining us for Witchcasting with Theodora Pendragon. Have a burning question or have a topic you'd love Theodora and her guests to discuss on the show? Contact her through Instagram at Theodora Pendragon. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And help us spread the word by leaving us a rating and review and sharing it with your friends. See you next time, and may your magic always shine.